Hi everyone, my name is Angelica Zadak and welcome to another episode of This is Biz, brought to you by This is Improv. Today we're going to be talking about how to adapt to new situations at work using improvisation. Sometimes when we're at work, we run into situations that we didn't quite expect. Things happen that we didn't really plan for, and that happens in any situation that involves other people. And even in an environment where you're only interacting with people on Zoom or via email, you can be struck by some information that you weren't quite expecting. So let's say that you had planned to spend the entire day calling clients to have them come into your company and try your new products. But in the middle of the day, you get an emergency email from Lisa. And Lisa says that they're missing an important document and they need help finding it for a new project the following week. In that moment, you have to adapt to that new situation and switch over to help the rest of your team prepare for that project. That way, your entire company succeeds. And while in the moment, this might be frustrating. You had to change your plans in the middle of the day, and now tomorrow you have 5 additional calls you have to make, or new clients that you've never interacted with that you have to mentally prep for. And using the concept of yes and using improv tools and techniques, you can train your brain to be more willing to accept these new situations and better adapt to new shifts that might occur during the day. So let's begin by talking about yes and. We talk about yes and a lot in improv. I mean, it's the cornerstone of improvisation. And yes and is essentially saying yes to a situation. Yes, I accept what's going on right here and now, and adding on to that situation. Going back to the Lisa example, sending the email saying that there's an emergency going on, you want to say yes and. You don't want to ignore Lisa saying, this isn't happening, there's no problem at all, they'll be fine without me. You want to say yes to the problem Lisa is encountering, and you want to add in your helping hand to assist her through this problem. So what improv exercises can you use to get into this yes and mentality and switch your brain to better adapt to new situations? One exercise that works really well because it physically gets you involved in what's going on is miming. So when we put on a show in improv, we often mime a new environment. We play with objects that aren't there, and that helps us set the scene. For example, you might be having a scene where you're going to a beach and you lay out a beach towel on the floor, and that shows the audience and your scene partner that you're setting up this new environment at the beach. The cool thing about this exercise is that you have to look and listen to your scene partner as they're setting up this environment. And you have to follow along and add on to this environment. Now, you might have walked onto the stage not thinking, I'm going to have a beach scene. Maybe you were going to go to an adoption center for puppies and adopt a new dog, and that was going to be your scene. But in that moment, because your scene partner initiated the beach scene, you have to go along with that in order to make the scene work for the audience and for anyone else who wants to play in this beach scene. Essentially, it's about making your partner look good, which is what makes you a great improviser and a great person to work with. So if you ever have time to do some team building on Zoom in person, try this environment building exercise where one person sets up where they are. If it's on Zoom, have them put on a coffee mug or put streamers or balloons in the Zoom call and have other people act like they're joining the party or coming into this business meeting, getting ready. How do they interact and say yes and to that environment that's being built? Another exercise I love using to incorporate yes and listening is the emotion exercise. So there are a few things that you can do with this emotion exercise and emotion exercises that get people on the same page. One that I really like is emotion lineup, because you really have to listen and react to what the other person is saying. To play emotion lineup, you pair people off. So if this is a Zoom call, you make partners. If you are in person, you have 2 lines of people, 2 rows, and you pair them off with each other, making partners. Now that they're in pairs, one person has to present the other person with a line of dialogue. The trick is the first person has to add in an emotion when they're giving that line. So if they say something that's happy, like, I'm throwing a party, the next person has to react to that in the same emotion. So the next person would say, I can't wait to get it down, in that same emotion. So happy goes with happy, whereas I lost my shoelaces would have to go with something like, I threw them away because they were gross. The reason this exercise is so important is because so much of the time when we're communicating with someone, responding to an email, we find it difficult to know how to react. This exercise is really important because most of the time we get confused about how we're supposed to react to someone. What's the correct response to someone who's excited about something or someone who's really not doing well and needs some help? And most of the time, the best way to react is with the same emotion that the other person is presenting. It's an easy trick to know what to say and what to do. For example, if you're at work and everyone is freaking out because this big presentation is coming up, so everyone's doing their own individual job, you would look kind of weird just relaxing, saying, you got this, it's fine. You want to be on the same page with everyone else and look busy with them and actually help them with what they're doing. And that way it feels like you're in the same scene with them. You're doing the same thing. You're all working toward the same goal. And essentially, that's the most important thing when it comes to adaptation to these situations. You want to show someone that you are there, you're listening, you're there for them. And with these exercises and with the yes and concept, you can show that you are paying attention to the needs of your colleagues, your clients, and your friends. I hope these exercises help you next time you have to adapt to a new situation. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe, to hit the like button on this video so we can make more just like this one. If you have any questions about how to use improv in business, comment below. Let us know what we should make our next video on. You can also take some classes with us at This is Improv to learn how to firsthand adapt to new situations, or you can bring us to your business and let us talk to your team about how to improve communication. And most of all, thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Angelica, and you are watching This is Improv. Thank you. Have a great day.